Hey, welcome everybody to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name is Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my best friends on this world, in this planet. They're my only friends. I love these guys. Richard
Roar!
and Michael.
Meow.
Oh, little kitty cat. These guys debate and deliberate many different things. And this week, the episode, the topic they're going to discuss is lions. Did I choose this? I think I chose this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is from the brain of Jeffrey Hopkins.
I remember how much fun we had with horses. And so rather than jump to just other Monopoly tokens, I just
Mount
thought about-
Rushmore of thimbles.
yeah, thimbles,
Looking forward to
irons,
that one.
top hats. I just thought about how lions are used symbolically and humorously, and they have accolades and royalty attributed to them and stuff like that. And so I thought it'd be fun. So Michael goes first. What's your first line?
My first lion is a cowardly lion,
Oh.
but not the cowardly lion. My first
Oh.
choice is
Oh.
Lambert, the sheepish
Oh.
lion.
Oh,
Also
wow.
on my list.
Wow.
Great. A 1952 cartoon written by one of my favorite children's authors and kind of cartoonists and kind of longtime Disney guy, Bill Peet. It feels very much like a Bill Peet story. If you've read any of his other kind of work, like Cirrus, the Unsinkable Sea Serpent, or I don't know, the Wingding Dilly, any of like the stuff that he writes is very, very silly. There's like these kind of down home morality tales, and Lambert is about a lion that's accidentally dropped off by the stork to a mother sheep, and so he grows up as basically a sheep, just kind of fish out of water sort of tale.
Not just any stork, by the way.
Oh, sure, it's the Dumbo stork, right?
Yes. So a little bit of continuity in the Disneyverse.
Wow.
They should really get into the whole Disney, the Disney CU, the DCU.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, don't get involved there. But it's a wonderful story about how he's this huge coward of a lion, and then he ultimately has to kind of overcome his fears and save his ma from a wolf or a
Spoilers.
coyote or something.
Yeah.
Wolf, I think. And just great. It's got a great song. It's got Sterling Holloway doing voices. It's got a lion, coming into his own and being prideful at the end.
Prideful.
I get it. I see what you did there. Very good, Michael. Very good.
So this story goes against the archetype of lion and teaches us about the courage that we can all manifest within ourselves, and also how it's kind of like the ugly duckling, kind of a little bit, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 There's a little bit of a Aesop's fables
Yeah.
parable sort of thing to it.
I wonder if they were competing with the fractured fairy tales, any of the J. Ward, Rocky and Bullwinkle kind of nonsensory. Although I'm sure with Three Little Pigs and things like that, Disney attacked fairy tales a lot sooner than those guys did. But,
Well, June Foray did make the voices of the sheep.
oh, is that right?
So there's your connection to the world of Rocky and Bullwinkle there.
Ah, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and also, by the way, the wolf is not just any wolf. It's the wolf from the Peter and the Wolf segment from Make Mine Music.
It is. It's the same character model and whatnot.
Yeah, so it just goes to show you how lazy Disney was being around their shorts in the mid-50s. Just kind of reusing whatever stock characters they had laying around.
Putting those guys to work. They were unemployed for a while. Got them back in there. I was reading an article about it was the last episode of The Twilight Zone, and it was after I think we'd all kind of figured out the formula of The Twilight Zone, in which maybe it's an object that can stop time, or an object that has mystical properties, or some people who go through some transformational doorway or something like that. But this was a swimming pool, and then once they go in the swimming pool and they come out, they're in an idyllic kind of place. Maybe they're dead. I don't know, but it's idyllic once they come out. and June Foray had to dub in the voices of the little girl because the location audio was so messed up. So this character has a different voice in the first half than they do in the second half, and it's because the audio was so bad and they couldn't get the little girl back, and so June Foray had to pinch hit. So what a talented lady!
Well,
Mhm.
maybe that's what happened when we went through the pool. Maybe she swallowed enough,
Yeah,
chlorine, and it just really fucked up the vocal cords
yeah.
too.
So do lions have a real identity? They known for being truly ferocious, or are they actually just is that kind of a characteristic? Do they deserve the accolade, the king of the jungle? Do they deserve the brave accolade? Do we know? Do we
Hmm.
watch enough
You know who?
Discover?
Who doesn't mess with? You know who lions don't mess with? Hyenas.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, hyenas are vicious, and lions will not mess with them. They
Man, an
will.
elephant.
They will. They will back away from a pack of hyenas.
Is that right? Okay,
Yes.
probably pretty
I
smart.
think I think at some point, 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago, there was someone that determined that the male lion is the most regal looking thing. So they were going to
Yeah,
kind of imprint, a lion's courage and prowess on them. They didn't do the research because, like, all the female lions actually do the hunting, and
yeah.
it's the male lions that basically, uh, you know, uh, eat a bunch, sleep all
Hmm.
day, fight with other male lions, hump around.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of kind of projected masculinity onto a lion that
Okay.
rather than them actually being the roughest and toughest. I mean, they're not even
Yeah.
the biggest cat. I mean, tigers bigger than
Hmm.
lions. Some tigers are huge.
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, I love it when we kind of discover um, what a story is a metaphor for. I wonder if this something in this era was needed to be communicated, like this post-industrial man who is
Mm.
so far from their roots as hunter-gatherers and whatnot. Maybe people living out in the suburbs in Long Island, then they have to go into town to try to be a madman or try to work in the as a schmata in the garment industry or something like that. And this story was appealing to them at the time. Maybe the emasculization of the American male. I don't know. Maybe I'm overanalyzing. Okay, Richard, what is your second choice?
My second choice
Richard the Lionhearted.
Mm.
is me.
Mm.
Uh huh.
No, no. My second choice is the lion as the symbol of the Rastafaris.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
great.
I
Um,
knew Tough Gong would jump in here. So.
yeah. So at some point, Bob Marley would rear
Yeah.
his ganges reeking head. No, the lion is the symbol of the Rastafari culture, and it's very closely tied to Haile Selassie, Haile Selassie, who is referred to as the conquering lion of Judah. He was the emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 until 1940, and then 47 or so until 1975. And the Rastafarians believe that Haile Selassie is God reincarnated, and that he would return return to Africa members of the black community who were living in exile. And it's all tied up with sort of the ideas of Marcus Garvey, who was a political activist who was all about the repatriation of blacks who had been sold into slavery back to Africa. And I always find interesting about that is Haile Selassie uh, is sort of outside of the religion. He never actually said like, yes, I am the reincarnation of God or anything
Oh.
like that. He never claimed to be the leader of the Rastafarians,
Mm.
but they sort of saw some of the statements he was making about uh, that he was when he became emperor of Ethiopia, he claimed himself to be King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. And they took that. A lot of Rastafaris took that to mean that Marcus Garvey's vision of someone bringing black people back to Africa was going to be fulfilled through him. Now, he also never explicitly said that he wasn't, which I think was very, very very at best political on his part, if at worst sort of misleading. In private, talking to Michael Manley, who was the longtime prime minister of Jamaica, he sort of said, I don't really understand why, I don't understand it, but I'm not, at the same time, he never really debused anyone of the notion of who he was. And the dreadlocks, I did not know this, but when I was doing the research, the dreadlocks that Rastafaris wear are supposed to be the symbol of the lion's mane.
Wow.
Oh,
That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so I found that interesting.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I mean, anytime you hear anything about, you hear a reggae song and they talk about a lion or something like that, they are referring to the symbol of their religion.
Wow, that's really fascinating. You were describing the demeanor of the lion earlier, Michael, as maybe one who is preserving his energy for potential attack. So that almost seems to fit into the Jamaican culture, maybe the Rasta. um, okay, what's your second, Michael?
oh, mine is a super dumb one. I'm just prepping you.
Okay.
Are you ready? It is the drawing of David St. Hubbins as the Leo the Lion in This Is Spinal Tap.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking
Listen.
that up right now just to remind myself. I mean, I have it in my head, but
yes, of course. There's an amazing scene when the band is in dire straits and they're trying to figure out what to do next.
the
The
band
show
is
is
not
becoming
Dire Straits. It's Spinal Tap. That's a
yeah.
different band, Michael.
They're trying to figure out what to do next. They're getting gigs canceled left and right. And David St. Hubbins' girlfriend, uh, Janine's, comes over from England, and she's trying to offer up just anything to kind of give them a new look and a new direction. So she pulls out all these drawings based on their astrological signs, and she has one for Nigel. She has one for Harry Shearer, which is kind of like this crab creature. She has one for Nigel Tufnell, which is like this kind of a goat man. She has one for Viv Savage, which is kind of like a yin and yang. And then she pulls out the final one, which is the David St. Hubbins like regal lion. And it's the scene is great because you know three of the guys are into it, and of course, Nigel is against anything that she says or does. But these drawings just get progressively like weirder and stupider. And then, David St. Hubbins as a character has this kind of big blonde mane of hair that kind of frames his face, and he feels very lion-like. And just this picture that she pulls out, it's a small drawing, or it's kind of 11 by 17, whatever, and he just looks the best of them all. And at that moment, you could feel just the hate start to pour out of Nigel's character. It's just like everyone else kind of looks like a goon or some monster, and he's just this gorgeous regal beast of a person. And of course, it leads to the fight with the manager, and he walks out of it. All this stuff is like they're not going to paint themselves up, kind of knightly in a Kiss fashion.
Yeah.
But just great, just amazing representation of all of their characters and ridiculousness, and I don't know.
It's just it's a small detail that you kind of have to pick up on, the fact that David St. Hubbins, like you said, his looks like it was done by a Disney animator.
Yeah.
And the other ones looked like they were done by like a 13-year-old art student.
Yeah, definitely there's Napoleon Dynamite type feelings behind all of it. He's spent 7 hours on your, drawing your doing the shading on your upper lip. But
There were so many performers who were playing it even drier than the Spinal Tap, than our main characters. It feels like that helped create the framework for them to be, ridiculous. And, they were kind of in this unflinchingly kind of deadpan kind of mode that Marty DeBurgi, aka Rob Reiner, must have hopefully directed them all to kind of take it seriously and let these guys be even more believable, because the people who are surrounding them, mimes notwithstanding, are so believably dry, and not winking at the camera. So Wow, what a great lion. Well, I'm not lying. We're at a halftime,
Mm.
and this time around, um, I've nominated Richard Manfredi to implore you because
What?
I beg every week, and Richard, you
What?
you beg them to give us some kind of topic that we can chew on, a nice yummy something we can sink our teeth into as
Like
lion
like a
podcast.
lion that we can sink our teeth into.
Yeah, not a lamb. Yeah.
No, we need topics. But otherwise, you're gonna next time it might be tigers, might be capybaras. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go through the animal
Yeah.
phylum, folks. If you don't send us our topics.
Yeah. That's the best thing.
Now we love doing other people's topics. Obviously, we love coming up with our own topics, and we have a great time with it. But I think some of our favorite episodes have been ones that we've done that other people have suggested to us. And sometimes we even convince those people who suggest those topics to come on the show with us and help us debate and deliberate. And that's always a blast. And we haven't had a chance to do that in a while. So please, let us know.
You don't have to be a famous person. Let us make you famous.
That's true.
In the way that we've been desperately trying for ourselves for 5 or 6 years.
You can see what it's done to some of the other people who have been on the show in the past.
Yeah. They've gone into seclusion.
Witness protection.
Witness protection.
Which is a sort of fame in its own way.
This is a side note. This seems like the kind of thing that we would discuss. Found an article about the rise, flop, and fall of the comb over. Like, maybe we should do comb owners. I'm going to tell the audience the bad topics that we might do unless they intervene.
Sort of a threat.
Famous hip hop beats. I was thinking about the.
That's not a bad one. If we can find a way if I can find my drum machine and I can program in some of the beats, so that way
get the 808.
That way we can get around the copyright laws.
Oh yeah.
Then I think we'd be in good shape.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. There's a fun guy out on TikTok who identifies the obscure sporting events in movies and TV shows, like whatever's playing in the background. He goes to find the AFL game or whatever game it was that they were watching. That's like crazy. USFL. He found a USFL game that somebody was watching in the back of a episode of West Wing or something like that. Like this, that's his hobby. All right, Winfield.
Just did the last one.
Just did the last one. Okay. Richard, what's your third?
My third one is let's talk about the lion exhibit at the zoo.
Oh, okay.
Which you seem disappointed by this, Jeff.
Oh, it's just an animal. These things are never always grim.
That's okay. The lion exhibit at the zoo is the most scattershot experience of anything at the zoo. I just went to the LA Zoo this weekend, and there's no lion. There are no lions there, so I didn't have to experience this. But I remember when they did have lions. 95% of the time, when you saw the lions, man, they were crashed out.
Yeah,
they were doing what I wanted to be doing instead of being at the zoo at the 100-degree heat at 1 p.m. They were taking a nap. Now, there is like a 5% chance you're going to go there and the lions are going to be in full voice and running around and roaring. And when they are, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But most of the time you show up and you get really excited because lions are one of the big things you want to see at the zoo. It's the king of the jungle and it's Simba,
Yeah.
It's all this. And you get there and you can kind of see them in the corner and they're the two of them are curled up together, passed out.
Yeah.
And there's some idiot next to you like going, come on, why aren't they doing anything? Roar! Why don't you roar? Like if they roar at them, the lion's going to think, oh, there's another lion in here now. What is that lion doing outside? I should get up and investigate.
Do you think...
Yeah, he broke out. He made it, guys.
Yeah.
Somehow he got over this.
How do you get out there? He's
Yeah.
on the other side. Do you think it's the doofuses that the lions are making them even more weary and thus uninterested in in lioning and performing and preening and primping because of the doofuses on the other side of the bars?
Possibly. I
Yeah,
mean, I just think lions are very lazy by nature. I mean,
yeah,
they're if I remember correctly, I mean, they hunt at night for the most
uh-huh,
part. They are mainly. I don't want to say they're quite nocturnal, but
uh-huh.
what binaural I think is the word for it,
Okay.
where they spend most of their time. They split their time between the day and the night, but for them, they spend most of their active time at night, which makes sense
Yeah,
because you're in Africa. It's 120 degrees
yeah.
during the day. Why would you want to be out hunting when it's hot?
I just love the idea that there's a lot of animals who never got the idea that the lions are up at night, like the zebras. Hey, it's dark.
No, we made it, guys.
We made
We
it. It's
made it to
dark.
nighttime.
We made it to nighttime. Now we can roam freely about the savannah.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot these guys hunt at night. Ow, 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 ow. Is it because their laziness is counterpoint to their reputation? Like this is the most dangerous, dramatic
Yes.
animal in the, yeah, so it's more profound. So if it's like a sloth, you're like, well, he do what he do, right? But
Yeah,
the lion, yeah,
sloth's gonna sloth.
sloth's gonna sloth.
I
But
think
yeah, when it's
is it the animal that has the most expectation thrust upon it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everyone expects the lion to preen and
strut.
somewhere pomp and circumstance is playing and that the lion is doing things and
hmm,
acting about, but in reality it's just it wants
yeah.
to lie in the shade and flap its tail around and
It is absolutely. Well, whenever you
digest.
see those gifs, or I see like an image of a female lion just roaring in the face of a male lion, and him kind of flinching and kind of cowering, it just seems like all this projected male masculinity that we have upon that poor guy. Yeah, that's too bad. Okay. Who's a at the zoo? Who's a ringer? Like,
Like you mean like something that you don't expect to be
well, you got if the lion
great?
disappoints you, you think, well, let's go to the lemurs.
Like
The
a
They always
nurse
lemurs.
gonna be
bring it.
disappointed.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Well, the monkeys.
yeah,
Monkeys are always running around swinging and
yeah.
cleaning each other, and I would say any of your monkeys or lower apes are
Okay.
generally you're in good shape with those.
Meerkats, otters, flamingos, always doing flamingo stuff. It
Yeah,
seems.
otters is a good shout. I know
Hmm.
otters is a favorite of mine.
Okay.
I would say this: the orangutan doesn't disappoint even when it's mostly just like lying on its back 60 feet away on a net and you can barely see it because like you don't expect them to be like doing King Louis stuff from
Yeah.
from like the Jungle Book. Like it's you're just like you've accepted it. It's like yeah, you're gonna kind of see like this weird dude. They're just gonna it's like this old hippie, this old fat
Yeah.
hippie that's lying about, and you're just like yeah, I know what your vibe is, man. It's cool. Just stand there, kind of slowly eat whatever melon you're
Yeah.
eating. Put your finger up your nose. It's
It's
cute. It's great.
it's the Jerry Garcia of the animal
Yeah.
world, is what you're saying.
That's so funny. Okay, Michael Winford.
Okay, my third one is a 5-in-1. It is
Oh,
the Voltron Lion bots from the
Oh
animated
wow.
nice.
cartoon and the amazing toy Voltron, um, based on a Japanese cartoon that was called like Beast King Go Lion because the Japanese always name things like that. Like I think that if you go to the zoo, that's what they call lions. They just it's
Oh
Beast
yeah.
King Go Lion. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a regular name. But Voltron is such an amazing visual, and I love the at least the original lions. They all were different lions that combined to make a giant lion fighting man.
Hmm.
And I remember my cousin had like these kind of imported, kind of die cast metal lions that would actually click together. Their tails would click in on the arm sockets and the head would swivel down. And I think just the visual of like this this giant thing that has this headpiece mouth that opens in a very kind of classical, almost Herculean way, or like Alexander the Great, some sort of like someone who has defeated a lion and is wearing his skin, but he's actually the lion itself, to reveal this face, this uh, kind of pristine, classically carved sort of face underneath. I just love it. I just I remember always being like disappointed when um, there would be like other iterations of Voltron, and it was like the cars would cram
Mhm.
together to make a giant robot. It's like, get
Mhm.
those cars out of here. I want beasts. I want a lion making itself into a robot, not a submarine and a
Yeah.
helicopter and whatever else you got going on.
Where did you what age were you when you were introduced to this?
Well, I know the cartoon came out around like 84, 85, but I must have seen it probably sometime after that. I'd only seen like a dubbed American version with like the whatever the dopey people were, like Hunk and uh, Keith and whatever they were called. The stupid Americanized version of it. They'd fight their, I don't know, space emperor, whatever they did. But I must have been, right around that same age, and my cousin must have had an early version of it, because I remember being, he's a few years older than me, and being just really impressed by, before he had turned into a teenager, and right in that kind of super great realm where you have an older cousin that's like 11. So probably I would say right around
Mhm.
that time, 84, 85, something like that.
Was there no kid like, one of the funny things in the movie Big is when Tom Hanks becomes a kid and then gets a job at the toy company,
Yeah.
and he has this kind of kid logic about what toys are interesting. And I think is it John Lovitz or somebody has a toy that's made up of buildings, and there's just that innate sense of play that kids have, like a lion that turns into a big robot. Like that's cool
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
combines two things that maybe don't go together, but they're still cool. It's like pizza
Yeah.
that turns into a robot. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, no, nobody actually wants like the Trump Tower to turn into a robot. They want
yeah,
it to
yeah,
turn into a robot, then walk into the Hudson Bay and sink
yeah.
forever.
Your final is it, Richard? Is this your last?
Yes, my
Okay,
last
okay.
one. It is
Wow.
the 1981 comedy Roar.
Mm.
It is a film written, produced, and directed by Noel Marshall, who was the husband of uh, Alfred Hitchcock muse Tippi Hedren, who also stars in the film along with Hedren's daughter, Melanie Griffith, and Marshall's sons, who play supporting roles. And if you guys have not heard about this movie, it is the most batshit crazy story of a movie you will ever hear. Basically, it was filmed with a cast of dozens of wild, untrained lions, tigers, elephants, and other wild animals
Oh my
Oh my.
goodness.
Oh.
who who were not trained, like I said, to act in the film. These weren't like, professional stunt lions. And they proceeded it's been called the most dangerous movie ever made.
Oh wow.
Apparently, more than 70 people were injured during the 5-year filming of this movie, which is, again, marketed as a comedy. Some of the injuries, young Melanie Griffith wound up having her getting slashed and had to have plastic surgery near her eye.
Mm.
Uh, Tippi Hedren got gangrene and needed skin grafts. Marshall got blood poisoning. And the cinematographer, who was John DeBont, who wound up directing Speed and Twister,
Wow.
got got scalped and needed
Oh.
120 stitches.
Oh.
And a lot of the stuff that happened is in the film, but
Oh.
it's played as a comedy. There's like the background music is all jaunty and almost like a Max Sennett sort of like silent film comedy. I can't explain how weird it is. I'll see if I can get the trailer up on our Facebook page or up on our
Yeah.
social medias.
Yeah.
Um, it's just the personification of a bad idea done poorly. You
Wow.
know, it's I I encourage everyone to do more reading on it. I'm doing a piss poor job of explaining how insane this movie really is. There's a really good New Yorker article about it when the re-release came out through Alamo Roadhouse. They did a big story on it, and um, yeah, it's just it's out there, man.
I thought I saw pictures of Melanie Griffith kind of reclining by the pool with her pet lion.
Well, because Tippi Hedren and her husband
Oh yeah,
have Tippi Hedren has the big that sort of
the sanctuary.
sanctuary. I can't remember the name of the sanctuary, but it's up in Soledad Canyon. And yeah, that's kind of where the genesis for the movie came from. Is they were literally living with dozens of, I guess they were animals who had been used in previous movies, so they were
Mhm.
like rescues.
Yeah.
So they weren't completely untrained, but they didn't have like it wasn't the same thing as having like an animal trainer on set and
Hmm.
the whole 9 yards. I mean, obviously, with all the injuries that happened, this is the ASP. This is before the ASPCA got involved with
Wow.
supervising film shoots. Clearly,
Wow. Um. Okay, Michael. What's the last one?
My last choice is Leo the Lion, the MGM
Right on.
logo of this lion that has been kind of on and off, mostly on since like 1919, since before it was actually MGM and it was just known as Goldwyn Pictures. But this little kind of lion has been the focal point of this production company for, nigh
Hmm.
on 100 years. And it has had many different lions over the years, roaring or not roaring as it was in the beginning. I watched like a supercut of like the MGM logo, and it took like 10 minutes. And at first, there's just like this black and white lion that's just like looking bored, the way that lions look in real life, like surrounded by like regalia and everything. And then eventually, in like the 1930s or maybe late 20s, it starts roaring, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that lion.
Hmm.
But the premise of the lion is kind of kept on for 100 years. It comes out and it's very proud and roars. But the lion itself has changed. The original one was named Slats. Then it became Jackie and Bill and Telly and Coffee and Tenor and all these different George and Leo. All these different lions have come in to fill the role of this, very boastful lion. Um, and over the years, they've also had a lot of like parody versions of the lion, like Tom and Jerry in front of a cartoon. Jerry the mouse would
Oh
roar
yeah.
like the lion, or uh, the uh, the Marx Brothers did a parody where they came out and started to roar themselves, except for of course Harpo, who just kind of honked a horn. But I when I the first thing I thought of with this lion was like this kind of parade of this guy introducing whatever movie was coming next.
That's pretty cool.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
I, I just picture the tail being cranked to get him to roar. That's
It's
what
Oh
I.
funny.
God. Yeah.
The opening of uh what's who are those two Canadian guys?
Oh yeah, Strange Brew.
It's Strange Brew.
Bob and Doug.
Yeah,
There was a snippet at the beginning of their movie where they come around the corner, and the lion kind of breaks the fourth wall, and they're sitting there. They're just kind of messing with the lion's tail.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of specifically.
Okay,
It's a favorite. That was a favorite movie of mine as a kid.
Hmm.
never seen it.
Oh, Michael, you owe it to yourself.
I think.
You owe it to yourself to see Strange Brew. It's a fantastic, weird, and deeply stupid movie
Hmm.
featuring Max van Sydow, uh, clearly just cashing in a paycheck, but still being very good at it.
Oh, I will put it on the list of things to try to find.
Yeah,
I
Hopefully,
imagine.
it's already been paid for or like free out there somewhere.
Yeah. To some persons, this idea of Bob and Doug McKenzie, if they even would think about them as a comedy duo, for me, I think if somebody were to suggest that to me after the window of interest, it might be like when people tell me about Rick and Morty. I kind of go, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure that's great. You enjoy that. But yeah, is it's a Hamlet, and on in the beer industry, right?
Yeah,
Essentially.
it's
Yeah.
basically a beer version of Hamlet.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, so guys, we did it.
All right,
No, I was
cool,
trying to
whatever.
think if there was any kind of loop back, because as soon as you said Bob and Doug and Roar, I started to think about Wizard of Oz and the Cowardly Lion, the MGM thing, and how as a kid, I think the first time I ever saw the MGM, one of the first MGM films I remember seeing was The Wizard of Oz, who has the line at the beginning and the line in the movie. I'm just rambling. Okay, so let's do some rating. Let us go with due to injuries and the amount of sacrifice. Let's go with Roar.
Great.
And then I'm really digging the David St. Hubbins lion, and obviously because you both chose it, Lambert, the sheepish lion. But let's finish it off with our buddy Leo, the lion. Okay,
All right.
folks, we're just doing animals from the animal kingdom. I know we've got millions to go before we end up. Like we'll be articulated zebra. I'm trying to think of like the proboscis monkey. We'll have all kinds that we can go through. But if you help us out with some topics, that would be
What
great.
about extinct animals that aren't dinosaurs?
Oh yeah,
That's actually not a bad topic.
yeah, that's a great topic. Okay, this has been the Mount Rushmore of Lions. I'm always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.